hope you guys are having an amazing, gorgeous, abundant day, and thank you so much for joining in on this new video titled, This is How You Will Break Toxic Cycles. This is going to be a moon goddess watercolor painting, not time-lapse, but video. And during this video, I'm just really going to discuss how you can break toxic cycles and habits in your life, because I feel like this is a perfect, antidote, a perfect topic to talk about as I create this piece, because the moon really signifies your subconscious mind. The moon signifies every single thing you've been burying down, your shadows, and when you let the moon shine, you bring it up to the surface, you allow a lot of things that you've been going through to finally be released and just, be in your highest power, be in your highest moment. So if you end up liking this video and want to see more videos like this, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications so you won't miss nothing. So let's finally hop into what this video is going to be talking about. One of the reasons why I wanted to discuss this was because a couple of days ago, I made a tweet and I had a thought, and I was like, you know what? There's a certain reason why people have such a tough time letting go of toxic cycles, and it's simply because of one thing. It's shame. It is shame. A lot of people think when you shame somebody enough, they'll stop doing the things that they're doing. They'll choose better for themselves. They'll exist better. But here's the thing. That does not work. Shame does not work. And it's not something that is going to bring consistency in your reality, because healing is a lifelong thing. There are certain things that can trigger, certain moments in your life. And so if you're trying to rely on shame to get yourself together, it's not going to work, because you're just going to feel like you're being punished all the time. And probably if you come from a very, traumatic household, a very abusive situation, shame was probably used as a tool to keep you in line. It was probably used as a tool to take away your freedom, right? And so in adulthood, you use it again and again and again, not to get yourself together, not to be your best self, but to punish you for trying to do the right thing, from trying to move on. And it's that energy, it is that situation that keeps you stuck in a toxic cycle, right? So how can we make sure that we stop frustrating ourselves? How can we make sure that we stop harming ourselves, so that when we're ready to let go of toxic cycles and we're ready to let go of toxic habits, right? It doesn't take too long. It's not, there isn't any resistance. There isn't any fear, shame, or judgment. Well, there's a couple of things, right? The first thing I always recommend to people, if they don't know, right? Because some people know what the issue is, then the next step is a different one. But if you don't know why you feel shame and why you're tapping into these toxic cycles, I highly recommend that you do the shadow work session to figure out your why. Why are you going through things that you know you don't have to go through? Why are you resistant to change? Why are you resistant to growth? Why are you resistant to healing? What is making you fear all these things that is happening to you, so that because of these things, you can't change and you can't move forward, right? Answering those questions, understanding yourself, getting to the logical side of things helps immensely, because you're not walking in confusion. And I find that confusion is like the number one factor as to why a lot of people keep engaging into toxic cycles and habits, right? Especially during this day and age, and honestly, even in the past, right? We like to believe like, oh, this generation is the worst one. This generation does this, that, and first. No, we just copying previous generations. We're copying what we learned, right? But we tend to bury a lot of things, right? Because we assume like, okay, you just need to say your affirmations. You just need to ignore things. You just need to pay attention to yourself. But like, if you do not face what's getting on your nerves, if you do not face the toxic habits and the toxic cycles you're engaging in, it's going to be very hard to get rid of them, because they're going to rear their ugly head. They're going to rear their ugly head because you'll be working on things and mindsets that probably had nothing to do with you. It probably had nothing to do with the situation. But because you didn't focus, because you didn't face your fears and face yourself, right? Now you got to go right back to the beginning, because you decided to take a shortcut, right? And I know there's a lot of information out there when it comes to releasing toxic cycles and toxic habits, and combining that with manifestation and stuff like that. But I am here to say, do not run away. Face yourself, face your fears, because here's the thing, they have no power unless you give it power. They have no say unless you allow them to say something. And so just going back to those moments and situations that really stuck with you and just analyzing it from an objective point of view rather than an overthinking and fear-based point of view helps you to realize, okay, actually, maybe this isn't as bad as I thought, or if it is as bad as I think it was, right? We got some solutions. We got some things to fix. We can start letting go of limiting beliefs and mindsets and start choosing ourselves, right? At the core of everything, especially at the core of toxic cycles, is a being, maybe even an inner child, because a lot of this stuff start from, that age, is a child who has not been loved, a child who has not been accepted, a child that has not been able to speak up for themselves and express themselves and encourage themselves, right? But one thing they do know is shame. One thing they do know is fear and scarcity mindset and limiting beliefs. And so what you must do in order to exist in your highest timeline, what you must do to let go of toxic cycles, is show them that acceptance is the way. Showing them that loving themselves is the way. Showing them that encouragement is the way. Showing them that consistency is the way. Not shame, not fear, not, punishing yourself for making a mistake, not beating and berating yourself for not knowing who you are and what you want, but letting go, accepting yourself, and moving from that space and that space only. Now, it can be hard. Of course, it can be hard. This is your first time ever doing something of this nature. If you've been in a place where toxic cycles is your best friend, if you've been in a place where toxic habits are comfortable for you, but you do not give up. And that's where a lot of people get afraid. You keep going, right? You keep going with one thing and see how it works. See if it keeps you in a place where you understand yourself. If that method doesn't work, you find another one. Because that's how beautiful this life is. That's how amazing the human spirit is. We can find numerous things to help us live in our highest alignment, and we don't have to stay the same. We can jump, but some of us got to stop jumping from one method to another, because it's not the method, it's who you are. It's you giving yourself permission to heal. It's you giving yourself the ability to transform your life. So once you say, okay, I'm ready to go, I'm ready to do this, that, and the third, you need to be consistent. And consistency is built up over time, is waking up every single day and choosing yourself and accepting yourself. And so now we can get to the fun parts, and the fun parts are like how you're going to actually break a toxic cycle and habit. And of course, if you need any more like encouragement or any more like, advice and tips, let me know in the comments down below, okay? I also have ebooks that are very helpful with this that I'm going to link in the description box. So if you need questions to literally figure out like what the issue is with you and where you need to go in order to exist in your highest timeline, those ebooks are going to bring it to the surface so you can start understanding yourself, express yourself, and live your highest timeline. So the first thing you're going to do is practice shadow work. This is going to help you let go of limiting beliefs and toxic cycles. This is going to help you understand who you are and what you want. Because sometimes you need to understand yourself intellectually so that your emotions can kind of flow. And that's what I have to do. Like, I beat myself up with logic. I'm like, girl, does that even make sense to you? I'm like, no, not really. And then that's when I start that healing journey, okay? So practice shadow work. I have tons of resources on it. If you subscribe to my newsletter, I have a free shadow work ebook when you get the welcome letter. So you can just download that, start the journey. That's for you. Now, the second thing you should do is reshape your mindset around every single thing in your life. Because a lot of us don't understand that toxic cycles and toxic habits are deeply rooted. And it's rooted in even the simplest things. For example, say for instance, you're driving and you're snapping at the other drivers. That rage and that irritation can be a sign of, in childhood, you watch somebody else do it, or you watch this, that, and the third do it, and you need to tap more into peace and tranquility and tap more into patience, and that's going to help, right? So reshaping your mindset around everything is going to help you immensely. Now, the way you can do this is by positive affirmations. You can listen to subliminals every single day, because that's what I do, and it helped a lot with changing my mindset, thus changing myself in the toxic cycles I've been entering. Lastly, you want to be consistent, and you want to believe that change can happen overnight, right? Now, you don't have to believe that. You don't have to beat yourself up if you're not seeing change, but consistency, like I said before, is the way. It's the key for everything else in your life going the way that you desire and going the way that you want, right? It will take work. It will take hard work for some. But if you just believe in yourself and you keep getting back on that horse whenever you fall down or make mistakes, things are going to be a little bit easier for you to let go of, okay? So yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it for letting go of toxic cycles and finally starting that journey that is going to help you transform your life. If you have any questions about that, let me know in the comments down below, because I definitely would have you with that. But I hope you enjoyed this piece, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see my little angel fairies next time. Okay, bye loves.